Good afternoon and welcome to This Girl is on Fire. I'm Kathy Connor, your host. For those of you that do not know me, I am the founder and CEO of Go Getter Girls Network, and I'm also a paralegal investigator with the law firm of Lytle Writer Smith, Ivy and Fronrath. Today, we have the amazing Jennifer Wiggins with Clear SEM Solutions, JW Marketing, and Just Breathe Aerial Yoga Studio. So without further ado, but before I bring on Jennifer, if you are tuning in, tell us where you're watching from, add a comment, and also if you have any questions, put your question in the comments, and then we'll make sure we get those questions answered. So without further ado, help me welcome Jennifer Wiggins. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about you.
It's a loaded question.
Where you're from, how you grew up, a little bit about your family.
Okay, so I am originally from Eastern North Carolina, pretty farmlands, kind of far from the mountains, still far from the ocean, where life is slow. And I was born and raised there, and then my husband and I moved to Port St. Lucie, Florida in April 2011. Excuse me. And so we've been here in Port St. Lucie for a while. We love Florida. We love North Carolina, but if you're from the eastern part of North Carolina, you probably know that you can have 4 seasons in one day. And so we kind of wanted like paradise year round. So we love Florida. And we found Port St. Lucie by mistake at the time, and glad that we did. So that's a little bit where I'm from. Me and my husband, we actually just celebrated 21 years together, and we have a 3.5-year-old son, Carter. He is an absolute wonderful, he's a little blue-eyed, red-headed, difficult little boy, so adorable, but he knows what he can get away with, but he's definitely fills my cup. So my husband and I, my husband actually started Clear SEM Solutions in 2007. That we're a digital marketing and web development agency. And I hope I have my years right. I think in 2017, I had went to an aerial yoga class with a friend of mine and absolutely loved it. I was really big into fitness. I was doing CrossFit. I was already doing yoga and just love this new concept, this aerial yoga. So you're in the hammocks, hanging from a hammock doing yoga. And so became friends with the lady that was doing that, and kind of convinced her that she had a demand product because she only had 6 hammocks at the time she was doing it in her garage. Oh, wow. And so I was moving out of my current office at that time. So I was like, hey, I have the perfect place for you to move into. And so she was like, and if you can help me with the business, I can do the yoga. And a partnership was formed there. So I came on and became a co-owner of Just Breathe Aerials in 2018. We have a studio in Port St. Lucie, in St. Lucie West. And then we just recently, this past year, acquired a second studio in North Palm Beach, Florida. So now we're juggling 2 studios with that. And she's an absolute amazing partner. She is certified to teach and do training. She's trained from people all over the world to do aerial yoga. So that's kind of like my yin and my yang for that. And then from Clear SEM over the years, I spend so much time educating and teaching and working with the business owners. I guess, natural teacher, passionate about sharing knowledge, that I started getting asked to speak and do workshops and webinars. And I will tell you that shy country Jennifer from North Carolina was terrified in the beginning And when I first moved here in 2011, I had such an accent and I had words that I grew up with that I didn't know any different. I had people asking me what that meant and what are you saying? And I didn't really understand. So I joined Toastmasters. So I'm going to give a huge shout out to Toastmasters for helping me with just my speech and also learning proper speech and then just being more comfortable, in front of crowds. But it definitely takes practice. And so like over the years, I was speaking more and getting more comfortable. And then it just clicked one day that this is this is like filling my cup. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you do something similar, when you're helping someone and you can see that result instantly, and they're just so grateful and so appreciative. And I get told that the way that I explain things just makes it so easy. You take these technical or scary terms, and then I just help with them. And so out of that, last year, I created my marketing advisory agency where I am advising business owners. I'm working one on one with business owners, doing an audit of where they currently are, what their struggle areas are, what knowledge are they lacking but they need. And then we do an education portion. So we go through and I teach them what they need to know, how they can understand, if they're working with a marketing agency, is it working? How can they understand what's happening? We've done marketing budgets, how to understand ROI, all those types of things, just working one on one. And so those are the three businesses that I'm juggling right now on top of motherhood and wife. And I had to step down from several boards that I was on, I think, prior to COVID and prior to Carter. I was on maybe 7 different boards. So had to kind of give up most of those for, to clean up my plate a little bit.
Yes. Well, first of all, let me say your son is absolutely adorable. I mean, he is just the
Thank you.
cutest little thing. And knowing you for the years that I've known you, Jen, you you are just the poster woman of go getter girl. I don't even know how you do it. So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question here that everyone probably wants to know. How do you juggle it all? And what advice would you give our listeners when they want to venture out into multiple opportunities?
You know, I will be honest with you. There are some days I am getting ready for bed and I look in the mirror and I'm like, how the heck did you survive today? And so I will not lie about that. Like even just this past week, it was a hard week. I am currently uh, full of caffeine at the moment from lack of sleep. um, but it all comes down to timing, right? It's so I didn't obviously start all three of these things at the same time. I had to wait for the right support systems. And so I would definitely say like my secret is your support system. Like I will say without there's no question, I could not do anything that I do without my husband. And he knows it, and I don't care how big his head might get. He knows that he is absolutely rare and amazing. I mean, and he's not available. So, but he has dinner on the table every night. Every day we come home, I pick up Carter from school. He has dinner ready. He takes care of the house, the laundry. He goes grocery shopping. We
Wow.
take turns, putting Carter to bed. He watches Carter if I have events, and but he also is just a big supporter. He doesn't ever put me down. He, is always, you do what you need to do, so definitely rare. And we work in the same business and we've been together for 21 years and, but we are opposites. So I think the secret there is opposite. So when I say opposite, if you flip me on the other side and had everything opposite of me, that's him. would never be in front of the camera, not a people person, not a social butterfly. She was just totally opposite. But that is definitely my secret. And then in my companies, for Claricium, it's just having an amazing staff, amazing employees. And you just took my hiring workshop. It took me a lot of years to hire right. I invested years into learning how to hire the right people. And so you can kind of step away and you can let the business run without you, right? And so I will say, if you're growing your business and your goal is to not be the business, then you need to start making a plan for the business to run without you. So you need to be able to have employees or, contractors, whoever that can help run your business without you, if you plan to open up other businesses. And then the same thing with the yoga studios. It's just having the right people. Like my partner and I, she handles the schedule and the staffing and the clients and like the yoga part of it, because that's what she understands. I handle all the business things. I'm handling, the landlord or the money or banking or payroll. Like I handle the business part of it. And then when we're both needing ideas or to bounce, things off of each other, then we come together, and we're also very opposite. And so I think that's a secret there, is
you're
kind
opposite.
of opposites. And it works really, really well. And then just having the right people, like having a manager run the studio to help you. And then having processes and automations and using tools to help you run those companies. The marketing advisory, I fit that into my schedule. It's not, I can control that. So like I have one account that we just have a preset 2 hours every month that we get on. And so that's kind of already in my schedule. And so to kind of go back to what you were saying, your question was, I have to live by my schedule. My calendar it looks like a kid took a crayon box to it, and it has all the colors. But I have everything scheduled in there. It's like I have my task of what I need to do for the day also in my calendar. So if I have to run to the post office, I need to grab stamps, I need to do this, I need to do that. Those are all in my calendar, so that it's everything's pre-planned. My day is like my week is pre-planned. It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for like things to happen, but what's nice is I can usually shift them around. But I'm a OCD planner, so I think that's an advantage of mine. If you're not a planner, that's probably really hard to do. But yeah, the calendar for sure, I live by that. I also pre-plan my me time. Sorry, my caffeine's like starting to not work anymore. My words are disappearing.
That's important. You need to plan the me time. I have a problem with that.
I pre-plan my 6 months out. So like I do my calendar for 6 months, and I put the things in there in one color that I absolutely want to attend. Like I always put Go Get a Girl in there, girls in there. And then like things that I would like to attend, but if something else happens, it's okay to miss. I'll do that on another color. But I go ahead and I do like one day a month. I do like either a facial or a pedicure, or I try to do lunch with a friend or breakfast with a friend twice a month. And I pre-plan those days. And so all that's already in my calendar for 6 months. I mean, so you just have to go ahead and put it in there and treat it just like it's a really important meeting. And that's really important. And I can jump a little bit about why that's so important from where that came from my struggles. I don't know what else questions you have, so I'll wait.
No, you are answering all my questions. I think all this information is great. So
I will tell you, this isn't the first time I've done this week. I was literally on one yesterday. Um, so I will tell you that 2020, so a hard year for a lot of us, was really, really hard for me. I will tell you today that I do not know how I survived 2020 and 2021. So in up into 2020, my husband and I had been trying to get pregnant, and we were having issues. I lost our first child, and we were started doing fertility treatments, and they weren't working. And then COVID happened, and so I shifted my priorities to how am I going to save two companies that are affected by COVID. I had a marketing agency and a yoga studio, and the world shut down. And so, a month into COVID, I became pregnant. And so, it was like really the most stressful time of my life is when I got pregnant. But, and so I was happy for that, but it was really hard too, because number one, Chris couldn't come to any of my doctor's appointments. My husband, he couldn't attend any of the appointments all year. And that was really hard. I went through a whole year of, ultrasounds and all this and doctor's appointments and him not there. I am very thankful that by the time we had Carter, they allowed one person in the room. And so he was able to be in there for the birth. But so during that year, it was, my marketing agency got cut in half. My revenue got cut in half. My yoga studio, we were shut down. We were not allowed to have fitness. And so it was like, how can we keep these businesses alive? And so it was immediately going virtual, right? Like we getting our instructors set up at home and reaching out to all of our members and say, hey, will you continue your membership if we do this virtual? And, kind of like, doing all that and trying to stay alive and then shifting our focus in marketing. And I did not want to lay anybody off. It was like, what can I do to keep the agency open? And so then fast forward, I have Carter, the very end of 2020. And then 2021, I went into postpartum. And then I had 2 employees quit at the beginning of 2021 after everything I did to keep them. And so that was just I can't even like remember. I feel like my brain's like blocked out that year just from trauma. But I got through it. And in 2022 and 2023, I got back on. I got my hormones back on track. I started focusing on me. That was when I was like, if I don't take care of myself, I have so many people. It's like a ripple effect, right? I have so many people in community, my family, and both of my businesses that are dependent on me that I have to take care of myself. So I started focusing on my health, my mental health, my physical health, and getting my hormones back right. How do I get out of postpartum? Start by doing fitness. I've always been big into fitness, and I stopped doing it, during the whole thing. And going back to being my positive self and eating healthy and taking things off my plate. So I really, really worked hard for that. And that's what, has helped me push through the last 2 years, really. And then just really taking the time to focus on the things that fill my cup, right? And so I got rid of a lot of things in the evenings, on the weekends, because those are my time with my son. And I'm only going to have one kid, and he is my everything. And so I'm going to enjoy every minute with him. He is such, he's a miracle baby, and he's such a blessing. And he's so funny and adorable. And I love just absorbing every single minute with him, even the ones where you're getting spit on and pooped on and and all that. I still enjoy it. We still just laugh about it. It's so much fun. He's 3.5, so he's at a really, really fun age right now. But
Coming
Yes,
from someone who has grown children, definitely take advantage of every minute. They
I
grow
do.
up very quick.
I
I
do
can't
for
believe he's
sure.
3 and a half already. I mean, I remember when he was born. I remember when you were pregnant with him. Oh my gosh.
I know. No.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's my journey in my last couple of years for sure.
I love how you didn't take COVID and let it bring you down and close you down, and I love the fact that you did everything that you could to secure the positions of your employees. And that's, that's how you are. That's who you are. You think of others and what can you do? And you it sounds like you made it happen. And I love that.
Yeah.
And then being able to pivot, and that wasn't easy to do because I remember those times and we all went to virtual and having a yoga studio. I mean, maybe on the part of the marketing you could do virtual, but how do you do yoga, virtually unless you have, someone, an instructor there and you're just, showing them what to do online.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it worked out. We like I said, we sent an email out to all of our members and we were like, if you can afford it and you're not, hurt by COVID and you're okay with continuing your membership, we've got most of our instructors set up on Zoom. And if you have a hammock, we could ship hammocks to your house, help you get them set up.
Oh, wow.
And I can't remember the number right now, but we had a pretty good amount of our members that stayed on their membership and continued to do the Zoom, the yoga at Zoom. And then let me tell you, I think it was fall of that year when the state opened back up and fitness. Well, I remember when we first opened up, we went in there and we had to put tape every 6 feet in a yoga studio where you're breathing them. But we did that because we were only allowed, I think, to be at 50% capacity at the time. And then when we opened up 100%, it was like the floodgates open. Like our classes were packed. Like people were ready to get out of their house and they could not wait to come and do it in person. So it was really, really good.
Those were crazy times for sure. Let's talk about Clear SEM Solutions. I mean, you and your team have done a phenomenal job on our website. Of course, I'm going to plug that because our website just looks absolutely amazing. But let's share with the listeners a little bit about what you do. You don't just do websites. You do more than just websites.
Yeah. So Clear SEM, interesting. We started in 2007. And if you kind of remember back then, the internet was an interesting place. It was not like thought of for business, right? And then also we were in North Carolina, out in the middle of nowhere. And so my techie smart husband was doing things on the internet, and here I am. My background's in business and finance. I was a finance manager at the time in 2007, and I'm like, where is this random money coming from? What are you doing? And he was trying to explain to me like what he was doing on the internet, building these websites, making them number one on Google, earning affiliate money and this and that. I'm like, whoa, okay. Well, then one day he got invited to lunch with a friend in Raleigh, and I'm sitting there listening, and these people are like willing to pay him a couple $1,000s a month for him to make them number one on Google. And I'm like, whoa, what? And so at that point, I was like, can you explain to me what you're doing? And, this. And then kind of after he did, I was like, this is the future. I can see this, like something's happening with this. If people are willing to pay this now, where's this going to go? And so that's kind of what started Clear SEM. And then we were trying to come up with the name. It was like, what name could we come up with that I think would be around for 20 years? And so the SEM stands for search engine marketing. And that's an umbrella term. So all of your digital marketing, your internet marketing is under that umbrella. And I was like, okay, well, That way, no matter what happens or what we do, our name is pretty relevant. So that's how we made the Claricium solutions. And then, so in the beginning, we were only building websites and doing search engine marketing, the number one on Google. And then we started doing Google Ads when Google Ads started coming around. And then when social media came around and started kind of switching to be more business, we added that. And so now we're a full digital marketing and web development agency. So we can build websites, design them, develop them, and maintain them, manage them as well. And then we also do lead generation marketing, where we're finding leads for your business, and then we tie those into your website or into your funnel. So that's what we do for Claricium. We're Google partners. We focus on SEO, Google Ads, programmatic ads, social media ads, and then your email marketing as well.
I love that. So it's a one-stop shop, basically.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk real quick about your new venture, which is JW Marketing. That ties into the classes that you offer, correct?
Yeah. So Claricium is, we kind of stay like focused, right? So we work with local businesses and we do all the work for them. So it's not where we're like teaching them or showing them one on one. They're typically businesses that are, busy and they don't want to do it, so they hired us. But I was always educating. I was always going over. I wanted to make sure that they understood what we were doing. And so from that is where I started, people were like, will you speak on that? Will you do a class on that? And I love doing it. And so that's why I formed a different business, because I didn't want to muddy the water, right? I didn't want to be confusion that Claricium is a consulting or advisory or anything like that. I just wanted to stay over here, and this is what it does really well. And so with the JW Marketing Advisory, that's where it's a person or business owner that necessarily doesn't need to hire an agency. They might be really doing it on their own, or they have like a person in house, or they've even outsourced it and they have a VA or someone who's doing the work for them, but they don't have the knowledge. They don't know what that person's doing, or they don't know how it's working. Like, for example, I had a furniture store client, and they were spending like $300,000 a year in advertising on all kinds of different advertising. And they were so afraid to cut something because they didn't know what was working. And so, it's like, all right, let's sit down and let's go through this together, educate you. Let's put some things in place to go one by one to figure out what's working and what's not working, so we can cut what's not working. And that way it won't hurt your business. And after about 3 months, we were able to get that down to about $90,000 a year. Wow. In advertising, just from me taking the time to do that. And
That's
so
a huge savings.
Yeah. Well, when you start adding on this and adding on that, and you're advertising and then you're not tracking it and you don't know what's working, and you just kind of get afraid. I think he was in like 8 different magazines and he didn't know which ones were working. Oh, and wow. So he's like, well, I'm afraid to cut them, because what if they're the ones that bringing it? But then he was doing TV commercials in 2 different territories and he didn't know which one was bringing in the people. And so I was like, okay, we're going to do this one step at a time and cut it down and figure out what's working. And so just that audit, right? And then the education part of it, so that they know what's working, what they can continue to do. And now even going forward, they know how to track. So if they add something on, like he just recently did like radio for 6 months, we can tell if it's working or not now, because he's trained. He knows he has that knowledge now.
That's awesome. I love that. Tell us a little bit about the classes, because I love the classes that you do. I took one of your classes and they are so informative, and you get, you're something that you could bring home, a workbook and all the information. So I love that.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, how can I help the most amount of people? at once on topics that are just general information that people need to know. So that's where the classes came from. And I tried to do them on Zoom and like virtual, but it's just not the same. And
No.
I will tell you, like being from North Carolina, I'm an in-person relationship type person. And I love that one-on-one, and I love to make it interactive. So you can, if you're in like a mastermind type group, those are more effective because you can bounce off ideas from each other and you can talk. And so, I started picking topics that I thought were really good knowledge topics for people to have, like working with Google, what Google tools are free and how can you use them and take advantage of them. Your SEO, 101, just understanding that, how to do a SWOT analysis, how to create a general marketing strategy. Give them through templates. How can you understand metrics, like marketing metrics? Which ones are key metrics and which ones are vanity metrics, and just these important things. And what I try and do is, and I guess it comes natural, I don't know, but I just take this super complex information and I can just make it just plain sentence as day so you understand it.
You do that.
And I probably get that, actually, now I'm thinking about it. My husband is so techie and so like genius that over the years I have to tell him, you got to bring it down to my level. I have no idea what you're saying. And he'll like start explaining like just like physics or like just like how things come together and work and da, da, da. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Give me like 30 seconds and like summarize this so I can understand it. And like, so now he's just kind of conditioned to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now I kind of do the same thing because it's just, knowledge makes you feel, just it gives you like I'm trying to think of, I guess, power, right? It helps with fear. So many business owners that we're talking with are just fearful. They're afraid of what they don't know. They're afraid of being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, there's no reason to be afraid. How can I help you like understand? And I'm going to work with you until you understand. So that's kind of where all that came from.
I love that. And you also do business consulting or business coaching. Which is it?
That's what it
Consulting?
is. Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I call it advisory because
Advisory. Okay.
yeah, I'm going to advise you and then I leave you to be and set you on your journey.
I love it.
Like a financial advisor, but a marketing advisor.
Good stuff. Definitely. So Jen, we are going to wrap the show up, but before we do, is there any advice that you would like to give someone that maybe is starting a business or is maybe going through a difficult time, hurtling over an obstacle?
So I will tell you that I am a very positive person. So like I have little positive pep talks in my head all day. People probably like, she's staring off in space. But I'm probably having a pep talk in my head. And, it's one thing I believe is like manifestation and visualization. So, like, I'll do a lot of like visualizing this is happening. And one thing is when I'm having a really hard time, I always remember that it always works out. Like, I look at everything and it does happen. And I'm like, you know what? It somehow, like, whatever you believe in, like the universe, whatever, it took care of this situation, took care of me. And then also, Jennifer, you are, you know, I want to say, you're a really tough, strong person, and you've gotten through so much. You can get through this too. And so, like, those two things, is kind of what I remind myself. And then I give myself these positive talks. It's like so if I say something negative or I hear something negative, like, would I have said that to my child? Why am I talking to myself like that? And so it's like, that's kind of what I do. And so I would say, number one is you got to surround yourself with positive people. Like, if you're not listening to a podcast or reading a book, or you don't have positive friends or a positive circle, then immediately get rid of that negativity and find your positive people. You absorb what's around you, and you have to get rid of that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, I am not afraid. I'm not too proud, and I have no embarrassment to ask for help. None. And I know that's a lot of probably women's struggle is asking for help. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I already told you I couldn't do anything I do without support system.
Yeah.
And you'll go a lot farther if you have a really good support system. And so find those people. But don't get so caught up in the day to day and everything that's happening that you're missing out on life as well. And if my son has taught me that, like 10 years went by and I'm like, how did that happen? And what did I do with those 10 years? And then now that I have a son, it's like every minute matters. And how can I enjoy the majority of those minutes? And so now things that used to stress me or bother me or make me upset, they don't anymore.
That's the hardest thing, is learning to let things go and not let it bother you. And that's
Mhm.
very difficult. So you've mastered that. And I love that about you.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jen, I am going to put you backstage and wrap the show up, and I will be right with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I love it. I love it. A lot of great information. Thank you so much, Jen, for being on the show. So the Go Getter Girls Network members, actually, this Girl is on Fire is exclusive to the Go Getter Girls Network members. And each episode is a different member where they're talking about their journey, their advice, their what they've overcome, their family, their business, so on and so forth. And we're hoping this is an inspiration for all of our viewers. And with that, until the next episode, keep the fire burning. Have a great weekend.